Hello, everybody, and welcome to Feature Friday. Hi, my name is Jackie Kwan. I'm co-founder of Uplifter. Today, again, we have with us Garrett Trott, our product expert. How are you doing today, Garrett?
Hello, doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm not going to say very much today because there's two reasons. I know you have a lot to get through, and also I don't really know. This is like a surprise for me.
It is a surprise. You're going to
I
look
get
like
to
this kid afterwards. You're like, what?
get out. I know you're going to talk about a kind of interesting discount setup that is going to be very useful to our clubs and organizations using Uplifter. So without further ado, I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us, as always, on Feature Friday. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Today, we're going to be looking at a discount setup that allows us to augment the price of an item based off of the user's input, and we're also going to inverse the discount, which means that we are going to increase the cost of our item with that discount. So we're going to learn two very cool things today that allow you to control the flow and feeling and experience of your site. So in order to do that, we are going to add this party item to our cart here. And when we add a birthday party item, we're going to have to enter in some information about when it's occurring, what type of meal we want, what type of treat we want. But as we can see in our example here, when you pick your party size, there's going to be some price adjustments that occur based on the selection that we choose. So if we make a selection that has a price to it, then our base price of $100 or base price of whatever it happens to be is going to be adjusted based off of our selection. So when we enter our shopping cart here, you can see it's now $250 that I owe, but I can always go back and say, oh, I made a mistake. It's going to be a much smaller party. And now it's only $150, so on and so forth. So together we are going to build this, and actually what we're going to do is we're going to update this pick your meal dropdown to also act in the same way. So if they pick a specific meal, that's going to change the price of their party as well. So let's do that by first quickly taking a look at our product here. Our product is just, the birthday party product is just a standard product. There's nothing really special about it. It happens to apply per account, and it's worth $100. We're just using this for simplicity's sake, but you can utilize this discount structure for products, tickets, subscriptions, or even programs. As an additional side note before we jump in, if you are going to introduce birthday parties specifically into your system, there are some very strong arguments to be made to do so as programs rather than products, especially with the new drop-in feature. But again, just for simplicity purposes, we're going to be using just a basic product here for our birthday party. So now that we have the item in question in our system, we can begin to create the questions that we want to ask, and this is done through custom fields. So in order to access this, we're going to navigate to Settings, Global Settings, and we're going to select the Custom Fields tab here. And on this page, we are going to utilize invoice item fields. And we're going to do that for two reasons. Number one, this discount actually relies on us using that. But number two, we want to present these fields directly attached to the item or the program that these users are purchasing, because that gives it a lot of context. It'd be very confusing to have, 20 or 30 items in your cart and see at the bottom of that invoice, pick your treat. You'd be like, what? Pick my treat for what? So instead, we're going to have it directly attached to the item, so that gives them lots of context. As you can see, we have the items or the fields here that we saw previously in our example. We have our pick your day, pick your party size, pick your meal, etc. And here we have the party size. You can see the options in there with the costs involved. We're going to recreate pick your meal from scratch. So I'm going to deactivate this, and we're going to select to add a new invoice item field. So this is going to be pick your meal. And if you'd like, you can add a little bit of help text here. Select your meal choice. And, if you want, you can spell it right. It's up to you. And next we have the option of allowing this field to be updatable after checkout. Now for birthday party purposes, that's probably going to cause some havoc, so we're going to leave that unchecked. And next we have to specify what this is linked to. For our purposes, it's just going to be this one specific product. If you are asking questions for a variety of programs or things like that, you may want to do this by category or category level. In this particular instance, we really don't need to. So we just want this one specific product, because that's the only time we want to ask them to pick their meal. So now that we have that set up, we get to select our field type. And for this, we're going to use the drop-down box because we want to dictate the options that they have to select from. Now, our first option is going to be a pizza party, and I'm actually going to make this a $0 option. So this is included in the base price. Pizza's pretty cheap. Next, we're going to have a burger bonanza, and that's going to be an extra $15. And finally, a sub celebration for an extra $30. Now, it is important to note at this point in time that the values that I'm entering here are not what's going to be affecting the price. What I'm writing here is just information for the end user so that they're consciously aware of the price adjustments that are going to be affecting their item that they're buying based off of their selections. We'll see where the magic actually happens in just a moment. But one thing of note here as well is you do want to be conscious of what you're writing into these fields, especially regarding white space, which is, if I add a space at the end here, that part right there is white space, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure that the farthest your flashing cursor goes to the right is right against that bracket. Or the last character in your string. And similarly, you might want to make sure that there's no space at the start either. So now that we have that value in here, we can click OK. And those are our three options that we want to introduce as the options here for their food. And so now we get to specify whether or not this is required. I'm going to say yes in this instance because they do have to pick a meal. There are situations where you probably don't want that required. And if you want to offer like a null option here, you could certainly do that too, like no meal or something like that. Excellent. So now that we have that in here, we're going to say no to both allowing multiple values and allowing free form. We don't want them to select their own food. So we're going to click OK to that. And we have now created the pick your meal field. It shows up at the bottom, so I'm just going to drag it up to the area where I want that to display, which is right before the treat option. And I'm going to click Save All. So now we have done 2 out of the 3 things that we need to do. Before we move on to the third, I'm going to come back to this page here, and I'm going to select to edit the party size once more, just so I have this pop-up open. We'll see why that's handy in just a second. So from this point, I can now move to the third element of this setup, which is our discount. Now, discounts are created through products and programs, discounts, and on this page here, you'll be able to create as many discounts as you want, and within each discount, you can really create as many benefits as you want as well. As you can see here, we already have a birthday party discount, and we're actually going to add to this existing discount. The way that we're going to be structuring our discounts, they're actually going to be individual benefits within this discount here. So for each option that's going to change our price, it's going to have its own benefit. We'll see what that means in a little bit more detail in just a second. So I'm going to select to edit this. Now, if you're building this discount from scratch, there's not a huge amount here. I've set a name. I have not specified any date ranges. There's no restrictions to the date. If you do want your discount to start or end on a specific date, you can absolutely do that and enter the dates there. I have this set to unlimited usage, so there is no limitations. There's no first come, first serve sort of experience. And down at the bottom, there's no conditions. Now, there may be some variations on this discount that might require conditions. And if you're uncertain, you're always more than welcome to reach out to us. But in this particular build, we don't need that. Now, in this benefits section here, you can see that we have 3 benefits in existence already. The first is the 6 to 10 for $50, the $100, the $150. What you won't notice here is the $0 one, because that's built into the price. We don't want to adjust the cost if they select that option, so we don't need a benefit for it. Similarly, since we had that pizza party set to $0, that's built into the price, we don't need to create a benefit for that either. So in this instance, we only need to create benefits for those selections that are actually going to adjust the cost. Now, if you read one of these sentences, you'll see that they're buying at least one of the items where the custom field was a specific value, and then it's going to do a negative $50 off. So that's where that inverse sort of concept comes from. We're going to take negative $50 off, and here 2 wrongs will actually make a right, and that's going to go and add $50 to the product that we want. So let's see how to actually create these from scratch. We're going to click Add Benefit here. And from this page, we're going to select the item count discount because we want to count the number of items that are affiliated with a specific value. And so from here, we get to select our qualifying item, add qualifying items. And in this drop-down option, or this list option, sorry, we're going to select the very bottom, item associated with a custom field value. When you select this option and move forward, you're going to see this field here. this form. In this form, you can look for the field in question, so pick your meal, and you can check the box off. And then what we want to do is specify the value that we're looking for. Now, this is where this page comes back in handy, because in order to make sure that the discount actually fires when they select it, we need the exact value that you used in this dropdown. So we were very careful about the white space at the beginning and the end, so we know that we can copy this exact value with no spaces at the beginning or the end here either, and paste that into this form here. Now, because each one of these instances is going to adjust the price differently and to a different value, we're actually going to only add one here. If you had multiple selections here that added the same price, you could actually click this little plus button and add all of those variations in, but we're doing different prices for each option, so we're only going to do one listing here. So I'm going to click next. Now, don't be afraid. Pick your meal shows up here. It doesn't actually specify the value that you entered just yet, but it will in just a moment. So that's okay. That doesn't say that just yet. We have the minimum quantity. We're only looking for one. And we know that we want to add $50 here. So we're going to do 50 and then dollars off. But most importantly, we want to go back to this value and put a negative sign in front of this. So negative $50 off. Last but not least, we're going to say this is on a per invoice basis. Depending on what you're selling, it might be on a per participant basis. That's totally up to you guys. And these last three options here, we're going to leave blank just how they are. And that's it. We've set the qualifying item. We're looking for one instance of it, and we're going to take negative $50 off. So let's save that. Oh, and you guys may have already noticed I'm using the wrong field. What a special day. I'm going to edit this. It took me so long to realize. Okay.
I'm
No,
sorry.
Jack, I heard you laughing, but I wasn't quite sure what you were laughing at.
I was not laughing at you. I was not. Um,
Pick our meal here, Burger Bonanza for 15.
yeah. As Garrett's putting this together, as we mentioned, it is very important that you make sure that when you copy and paste those values, that they are exactly the value that you expect your members to select from the dropdown. If it differs at all, very often when clubs contact us and say this discount isn't working, and we've tried it a few different times, and when they select it, they've added an additional space. They, instead of copying and pasting the value, they put a space in the middle, and we do an exact check of the value that we're expecting before we actually fire the discount. So just make sure that you're always copying all those elements exactly as you expect. Make sure there's no spaces at the end of the beginning, and make sure that it does match fully. So.
Yep, exactly. So that is what I've done here. If you were watching as Jackie was speaking there, I've added in the $30 option. I've done negative $30 per invoice and click Save. So now we can actually read this out. So if you pick your meal is sub celebration, then we're going to take negative $30 off. So we're going to add $30. And if it's Burger Bonanza, we're going to add $15. So last but not least, with your discount, remember to click Save Discount Details here. And with any discount, absolutely any discount, please test very thoroughly all the different scenarios and situations. So we're going to practice what we preach today, and we're going to absolutely do that too. Going to bring over the B-Day party celebration here, and we are going to say, let's party. And now we can see that our meal says a different price. So let's actually test this out. I'm going to say my party size is the $0 option, so there's no adjustments to the cost here just yet. And I'm going to say, pick my meal, let's do a sub celebration, and let's add that to cart. And now when we go to cart, we should see that this is $130, and we do indeed. So now these two setups here will actually work in tandem. So now maybe we want to make this $230. And so we're going to have a large celebration, and it's going to be a sub option. Now, one thing of note, now that we have all of this set up, is your drop-down options and your discounts are not able to directly correlate to one another in terms of how much they add. What I mean by that is if you're creating a situation like this where the party size or party size matters, but you want the meal size to adjust based on the party size. Right now, you wouldn't be able to do that with this specific setup, but there might be some options that we can do to help you guys out. So if you do want to introduce this into your system and you do have that sort of scaling pricing model, please let us know. We can help you develop a pricing matrix and introduce that into your system. That's no problem. But other than that, that is the setup. Jackie, I flew through that. I told you earlier it was going to be at least half an hour. It was 15 minutes.
Oh, hold on. Was that just because you just didn't want me to talk today? Because
Yeah,
that's how you started. You said, Jackie, don't interrupt me today.
yeah. I was
Or
like, can
talk
you
to me
just
today
not
because
talk?
it's okay. I get it now. I get it. That's
I ask you that
fine.
every morning, but you never listen. So
I know. I know. I just keep
it's
talking.
terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. That's fine.
Excellent.
That's
So
fine.
that is the setup for this discount. And what we saw was a discount based off of the drop-down selections that users pick, but also we saw an inverse discount that increases the cost. The cool thing about that is you can introduce or offer items at the lowest possible cost, so to entice users, and then the cost obviously increases based off of their selections, which is nice. So yeah, that is everything. Jackie, do you want to add anything to that?
I do want to add just a couple of things that aren't related to the topic that you are discussing, in that I don't want you to have to show it. But after you've actually, since we are setting up a birthday party here, after you've actually collected the registration for a birthday party, you can certainly get the details of what people selected through our reporting section. Whether you look at the actual invoice itself or you go to our custom fields report, it will actually give you the details of what was selected during the checkout of that process. And you can use that to to help you sort out how to prepare for those birthday parties as they actually get booked. So those are definitely a bunch of things you can do to figure out those details. And as well, the other feature that works very well with this is the if you want to use the add to HTML or HTML add to cart buttons. If you want to actually create a customized page for your birthday party, those are things that you can actually do to customize those price matrices for the birthday party. You're going to show me that you already did that, didn't you? You did that, didn't you? Did you? No?
That's what this is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh.
so, so not to go into the details of how to do that, but just so that you know that you have a lot of different variations in terms of how to actually set that up and get that up and running for your Uplifter site.
Mhm.
So, our automated discounts feature is available on our bronze, silver, and gold tiers, and as well our enterprise tiers. This feature isn't available on Uplifter Lite, but if this is something that you'd like to leverage in future, please feel free to contact us at support@uplifterinc.com, and we can walk you through how this feature works and whether or not it makes it worth for you to upgrade to a better package. Other than that, I think that's it. So for next week, we are we going to talk about some of the new things that we've added to help people clean up their membership database and all the rest?
I believe we are. Yes, we've got some new tools that are available to administrators
Mm-hmm.
for participant and member maintenance. So they are very, very helpful. We also have maybe possibly a sneak peek of another tool. Who knows? Or maybe it'll actually even be released by then. Oh, okay.
Wow, no pressure.
No
No
pressure.
pressure.
Get to it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be close. We'll be very close. So thank you for joining us again, and hoping everyone is doing well. It is the end of May, and I think we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm hoping people are getting ready to prepare for having a a great year and a great summer. So we will chat with you soon. If you have any questions, support@upliftering.com, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.